Hey everybody, George here again with another episode of the In Good Spirits podcast from my friend here, Chris.
Chris it is, and we're here in person. What a delight. We're here in the Food About Town studio, and I'm so glad we're starting to record in person. This is so much better.
I was expecting more food though.
There's a little bit of food memorabilia on the walls.
I like your pig, the pig clock.
It's a good pig clock. I've got
and the piranha.
Oh, the piranha's great. Yeah, the piranha was a gift that my wife was given from her a friend of her family. He was an airline employee and got it from South America.
The easy way or the hard way?
It wasn't smuggled the hard way, so.
Well, oh no, I wasn't. I didn't mean smuggling. I mean acquisition of the fish. Did he get bit by the fish, or
no,
did he bite the fish?
I think it was a gift from a local place.
Okay,
which was very nice, and it sits in the back of my streams if I do like work from home and I do video chats. It sits in the background, and people are like, "Why is there a piranha on your shelf?"
It's very menacing.
It makes me very happy that I can have something menacing in the background.
But on the note of piranha and their frenzy,
yes,
the whiskey we have today has people in a frenzy.
Yes, it is. And man, the Facebook groups were wild about this one, and such crazy opinions on both. This is amazing. This is overhyped. This is branded by the because this is also a branded thing as well, not just the company, but it has like there's a brand beside this as well. So this is the Blackened Willett Rye combination.
Correct. Yes, with the Madeira Cask finish. So the Blackened brand, getting into the branding and the other associated act with that, Blackened is Metallica's whiskey.
Right. So, we're going to throw plenty of Metallica puns. We're going to have driving guitars through the whole episode in the background. Dun, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So, and it's a bit of a fraught topic with the branded whiskeys from all sorts of different things. There's some that are very well regarded and some that are not very well regarded.
And I feel like Blackened is one of those ones that kind of is split down the middle of opinions just in general before we even get into the collaboration with Willett.
Sure.
Because they sonically age their whiskey, which is one of those things where it's debated whether or not it really does anything. I guess there's kind of merit, but sonic aging is playing music or using sonic vibrations to agitate whiskey.
Which at an extreme level is what some of the companies do to rapid age things with ultrasonic waves.
There are some experiments and small scale tests and things done with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And again, sound energy is energy. It is moving. It's creating, things are vibrating, and that does make a difference in terms of if the spirit is agitated, it will age differently or more rapidly or however you want to put that. So there is some merit to it, but is it a big enough impact where we could say it's, noticeably different?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. Not enough. We'll just take a very diplomatic approach here. Not enough data to have an opinion on it yet.
I think that's a great way of saying it, that it has some theoretical scientific merit, but provability we're not quite at yet.
At least not that I have seen that I am comfortable saying, yeah, tangibly, quantifiably better whiskey because Master of Puppets was played for it.
Yes. I mean, we're tangibly better people for listening to Master of Puppets, but we can't say the whiskey's tangibly better.
I'm going to give it a lot of hate for this, but Metallica is a band I don't listen to recreationally. I was in a band once, and I said, because we covered a Metallica song, and I very politely said, well, I'm familiar, but I don't listen to it recreationally. And it was very much, that was a diplomatic way of saying that you don't like them. It's not true. I don't dislike them. It's just I like either much heavier or much softer. So.
Yeah, the way I usually phrase that is I wouldn't listen to that on purpose. I don't dislike listening to it, but would I listen to it on purpose? No, I listen to Talking Heads on purpose. That's the kind of stuff I listen to on purpose. And then I listen to podcasts incessantly because I can't help myself.
But is this a whiskey we would drink on purpose?
Yes.
Let's find out.
Let's find out. So while you're doing your first sniffs, this is also from the Willett distillery, which has a very odd range of bottle styles and distilling. It's been around for a long time, and that's the one with that weird giant bottle shape, right?
The bong bottle, yeah. It is actually in the shape of a pot still, but yeah, it looks very bong-like.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of, if you see it on the shelf, you might have seen that before because it's very specific shaped. So when you brought up the Madeira on the nose, it's very much there.
It's very prominent. And so I don't remember. I think we mentioned that this is a rye, but it's a blend of ryes between roughly 4 and 8 years from Willett.
Okay.
All Willett, and averages out to be about, I believe, 6.5 years old, average age.
Okay, and their typical rye release is 4 years old, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, they've had a few. So for the family estate rye, which is the big one, I think they've had a 2, a 3, a 4, and maybe a 5 now.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think we've seen this old of Willett rye released on its own that I can think of.
So nose wise, I mean, the finish is super prominent. It's got that aged, rehydrated fruits kind of thing. It's got some of the rye spiciness on the nose, and it's very much the addition of those two things. Like that makes a lot of sense to me based on the nose, and the nose is very pleasant. This is the kind of thing I would generally want to drink.
It is definitely very, very pleasant, and it's got like that soft, but like the Madeira note is kind of soft but prominent at the same time, if that makes sense. It's not overbearing, but you definitely know it's there. Just pulling up some notes I have on this.
So is this, based on the nose, I'm assuming this is closer to cask strength than it is to 80 proof?
I actually don't remember the proof. Hang on one second.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued because it's a bit sharp on the nose, but it's got a lot of, those big body notes, those oxidated, rehydrated fruits, the spiciness. It's all there.
It is cask strength, but it's a little bit lower of a cask strength, 109.6.
That makes sense. That's I wouldn't have necessarily but it's got some hard sharpness to the nose, which can have to temper with your distance on the nosing. But very pleasant. I'm ready to taste.
Yeah, and I'm actually, now that I'm looking at my notes, some things I mentioned in my notes, sweet figs and raisins on the nose with like sweet orange peel, kind of, and then the raisinated creamy Madeira.
For sure. All that stuff's there, and then hitting the palate, very similar. This is something that crosses, we taste any number of things that don't cross over very clearly from nose to palate. This is so much nose to palate, like almost 100% crossover.
Yeah, it really is. Because you get, again, like the creaminess of the Madeira, but you get that like spicy, honeyed, like dried fruit.
Yeah, that first note has some it's almost like it's glossy. Like it's glossed over the dried fruits, almost like when you get those fruit tarts that have that apricot glaze over the top.
Yeah, that's the perfect description because it has that literal feel of like that glaze, like it's a Madeira glazed whiskey.
Yeah, but what it doesn't have, it's not super heavy on the body. It's got a lot of big flavors, but body wise, it doesn't have a huge texture. There's a little bit of finish tannin from the oak. The oak's there from the tannins, but it's only in the back. And it's like you get that slight drying tannin of the oak on the back of your palate.
Definitely.
But it's not dominating. It's not dominating anything.
What's interesting though is as light as the body is, it's not thin.
No.
By any means. It's still very full, but it's delicate. It's got finesse, some elegance to it.
It has some youth still too. Like it isn't overaged. This isn't one where we're like, oh, you know what? This is just over oaked. It's overaged. It doesn't have any vitality. This is still very, very bouncy. It's got a lot going on still. But I think it does play in those worlds. If you like Madeira finish, if you like rye, and you like something of decently high proof, this is pretty good.
It really is.
I enjoy it.
So with the point at which it becomes debated here isn't necessarily if it's good or not. If it's more along the lines of if it's great and is it worth the 135 to 106, should be around 135-ish on the shelf, seeing it up to like 160, 170. Is it worth that?
So first blush is no, I don't think it is. I think it is a very well-made product. I'm enjoying drinking it. I would drink it again on purpose. I'm not sure I would drink it at that price point. It would never be the kind of thing I grabbed. And when we've talked about these kind of things in the past, value-wise, it doesn't quite get to there because it's not that unique. It's not that specific. It's really delicious. I enjoy it a lot. At 2/3 of the price, I'd say 2/3 to a little less of the price. Sure, absolutely. It's a very high-quality product.
I think that's a fair assessment. I actually disagree, which is strange. I normally... it's got a lot going against it for me in terms of I don't really like celebrity or musician products as a not right off the bat, but as a general where I fall in.
Sure, I typically agree with you.
But this I actually think is worth it. I would pay that for it and be very happy. I was lucky that I didn't have to. Someone shared it a bit with me, but I would absolutely, if I paid that, got this whiskey home, opened it, had a glass, I would not be upset that I paid $135 for it. That being said, if it was marked up more than maybe $140, I would not be happy.
So I think what I want to close out with is I agree that if I had opened it and I tasted it, I would have said, yeah, that's really good. I'm not unhappy I bought it. But would I buy it at the price? Knowing what it is, I don't think so. I don't think, I've tasted stuff at that higher price point where if I would have tasted it and I bought it at that price, I would have said, ooh, I'm not sure I'm happy I have this. If I bought it at that price, I wouldn't be unhappy, but I'm not sure it's worth the $1 at the same time.
That's fair.
It's a very tight delineation.
It is.
But so, I think it's a very high quality product. And what I think we can say is that if you want to ride the lightning.
I was waiting for something. I was waiting.
You can buy the Blackened Willett cask strength rye finished in Madeira. And if you can find it on the shelves, which it's actually kind of difficult to find right now.
I think it depends on what the store put it on the shelf at, if you can find it or not at this point.
But if you do find it, and this is the kind of thing you really enjoy, it's certainly worth trying out. And especially if you have a friend, it's certainly worth trying.
Oh, yeah, the split it down the middle. King Solomon style is the way to go on that. Cut that baby in half.
Well, on that note, I think we're going to close out on this episode of In Good Spirits. George, where can everybody find you?
Find me on Instagram at Whiskey Jedi with the E. The guy without the E, really nice guy, but he's not me.
You can find me at Stromy on Twitter and Instagram, Food About Town and the Food About Town podcast on Facebook. And George, we will be back very soon with another episode of In Good Spirits.
Cheers.
Cheers.